Okay, hello there. The next piece of equipment we're going to look at here is a MIDI foot controller. This MIDI foot controller is made by a manufacturer called Rocktron. They make other pedals, and they make, this is a musical device for musical instruments, for musical use. So it's called Rocktron. That's the name of the company that makes this pedal, and it's a MIDI foot controller. And its model is called MIDI Xchange, and what it does is it sends MIDI messages out to another device that receives the MIDI messages that you send out on here. So most of the time that would be a guitar effects rack, or even a mixing board that has MIDI. Anything that has a MIDI input that accepts MIDI signals is put out by this device here. This will put out those MIDI signals to be received on the receiving unit that has an input jack to receive the MIDI messages that this puts out. And that other unit could be, like I said, it could be another effects pedal, it could be a mixing board, it could even be another MIDI pedal, MIDI foot pedal. So anything that puts out and receives MIDI, this will work with. This is the one that puts out the MIDI information, and you can receive MIDI information as well, but it's meant to put out MIDI information. But like I said, it could do it the other way around. So let's say you wanted to put out MIDI information. I'll show you how it does that in a second here. But first, let's talk about the build. It's a pretty strong build. It's made out of a pretty heavy duty piece of, it feels like aluminum, but it's a pretty thick piece of aluminum. It's pretty heavy duty and feels really good and really strong. And let's see what it's on the edges here. On the edges, it's just a flat plate on this side. Let's look at the other side. Oh, we have some connections on this side of the unit. And what do we have here? Okay, on this side of the unit, we have your MIDI connector, and this one is MIDI out. And I think I said earlier it receives MIDI in. This particular unit does not have another MIDI jack, so it only puts out MIDI information. It doesn't receive any MIDI information. It only puts out MIDI information. And on the side here, you'll see it has 2 1/4-inch inputs. For basically what you use is a controller pedal, and a controller pedal could actually be a volume pedal. Anything that has a 1/4-inch input onto the other side of the pedal, where you could hook up another 1/4-inch on the other side of the pedal, could be a volume pedal. That's mainly what it is. But although you're not using for volume, you're using it to control the MIDI signals that are being engaged on this model here. So you would pick a patch right here, and whatever patch it's on, it puts out signals through these 1/4-inch jacks, which then connect to, like I said, a volume pedal, and it will affect those MIDI signals that are being put out. So back to the pedal. And did we look at the front side of it? Let's look at the front side of it. It's just a plain sheet on the front side, no switches or anything. The only switches and inputs on this side of the unit. So, and it also has your 9-volt or AC or DC, AC/DC adapter, so you can plug it into the wall with an adapter here, or you can use a 9-volt battery, which goes in this area down here, which is what I'm using. I'm using a 9-volt battery right now. It's the most convenient. That way I don't have to have an extra cord hanging around. So again, this is the Rocktron unit, and this particular model, it's called the MIDI Xchange. Now let's power this on and see what happens. First thing that happens when you power it on, you'll see a blue dot blinking and a number blinking. This is number 1. That works in conjunction with these switches right here. So when you push the right hand switch here, which is labeled up, the number goes up. 3, So if we start on 1, 2, 3, 4, and this is the down button. It'll go down 3, 2, 1, and it'll go up to 128. So that's the highest it goes. So if we go down from there, it'd be 127. So in other words, this goes all the way around. See, 1, if you go below 1, it'll go back around to 128, 127, 120. You add 1 to that, that's the highest it goes back to number 1. So the way this works, when it's blinking, that's the patch that's ready to be initiated. It means it's blinking, ready for you to initiate the patch. So it hasn't gone to patch number 2 yet until you press this center button, which is called a recall. And then it goes to solid. See? Solid. Press, blinks, hit the recall, solid. Up. It's on patch 5, just went up. Hit the recall button, go solid. When it's solid like that, not blinking, that means that patch number 5 or MIDI channel number 5 is engaged and it's putting out the MIDI signals for that MIDI channel, MIDI MIDI patch 5. You go up another one, MIDI patch 6 is blinking, MIDI patch 6 is engaged. So this recall button, I really like to think of it as an engage button. So you go up like this and it prompts it, right? It's blinking that it's going to be on channel 8, and it's not on channel 8 till it's solid. The way you have it go solid, you hit the middle recall button and it is solid. So now that patch number 8 is engaged, and that's basically how the unit works. And this would control like any other musical device that receives these MIDI changes. And again, so that's how this unit works. It's pretty simple. It's a no frills down to basics unit, which is actually what I like about it. And it's not very big. It's kind of a, you know, medium size, as you can see by my hand, and it'll fit on your pedal board if you have one. But I usually like to put it to the side of my pedal board so it won't take up that much room. It's big enough for it to be, it's big enough but not too big, but big enough to be sturdy and well on its own outside your regular pedal board. So again, this is made by Rocktron, and it's called the MIDI Xchange, and it's a MIDI foot pedal that puts out MIDI signals to your other MIDI device that receives the MIDI signals. Thank you very much and enjoy.